Hi everybody, it's Mr. Gray here. Thank you again for another great week with the kids. We are zooming through, we're done with April, on to May, the last full month of the year. There's a lot going on next week. The big thing is state testing. So we're testing Monday through Thursday next week, and then the Monday after, and then we'll have makeups that next week, the week of the 8th, the 12th, in case anyone misses. The kids and I have been chatting about it. Really, the biggest thing to prepare for is kind of what's due after the test. We've been working all year on stuff, so there's no stress about like knowing things for the test. All the kids are gonna do a great job, I have no doubt. But after the test, you might just have to sit there for a long time. So hopefully the kids get a good night's sleep, get a good breakfast, and so they're just feeling good about that and in a good mood going into the test and sitting after. But the kids can bring books, they can bring coloring materials. There's just no electronics or anything, and that might also be a good time to mention the fact that the kids can't have any electronic devices in the class during the test. That includes smartwatches. So it's okay if they leave them out in their backpack, but just know that on those days they can't have them in the class. There might be some taking them off and putting them back on. So it might be better just to have them at home just for the sake of keeping track of them. But that's what's going on. Next week, testing will take math on Monday and Tuesday, and English language arts, that's reading and writing, on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the next week, May 8th, we'll take the science test, which is specific to 5th grade. The kids are working on their All Apis project with a student from 4th grade and 6th grade. Just a reminder, we'll send out like a formal invitation for this, but on May 23rd from 2 to 2:45, we're gonna have a big convention where the kids show off their projects. It's kind of just an end of the year celebration of Apis, so just mark your calendars for that. The kids also have their last chit chat coming up, so they just chose their topic. This one is a little less formal in the sense that they kind of have a very wide range of things. It's really their time, their 3 minutes to do whatever they'd like. And so they're going to be working on that, and those start on May 15th. And it's the week of May 15th through 19th, and that same week is the talent show. The talent show is at 5:30 on Thursday, May 18th. I know there's several students in our class who are performing. If you're interested, I think it takes a while. I think it's a couple hours to get through all the acts. I think there's 22 acts, but it's a really fun event, so that you can mark a calendar for that as well. Next week, I'm going to say some things we're doing academically, but it kind of depends on how testing goes and what gets moved around. So these might continue for a couple weeks, just depending on how much extra time we have during the week. But in Reader's Workshop, we're going to continue with our fantasy unit. We're going to talk about how characters in fantasy books don't only have external quests where they're trying to find something, but they have internal quests as well. We're also going to talk about the relationship between themes in fantasy books and in history. There could be a little more. We'll just kind of see how the week goes, but that's what's happening. Overall, the workload is going to be light, specifically for homework, because the kids have enough stress and things going on with the testing, but that's happening in Reader's Workshop. In Writer's Workshop, we're past the halfway point in our fantasy story rough drafts, so the kids are going to write their next 2 sections next week. One is going to be about rising action in the story. We kind of see more obstacles the characters face, more trouble, more problems, things like that. And then also the characters are going to have some kind of turning point. There's going to be a surprise in the story, or something's going to happen where the character finally kind of comes into their own in being a hero in the story and taking on the villain, and then we'll end up kind of finishing it the week after that. In math, this is the biggest one that's going to get affected by testing schedule next week. We might do some review of decimals as we've kind of finished up that unit. We also might move on to our very last unit, which is shapes on the coordinate plane. We just kind of have to see how it goes, but you can imagine it's going to be one of those 2 things or both this week and next. In social studies, we're going to finish our study of the important battles of the war. The kids will finish up their digital map that they've been keeping track of, these important battles, and we'll kind of finish up the last battle we're talking about is Yorktown, where it's like the last battle of the Revolutionary War. So we're going to skip ahead a couple of years and finish with that. We're going to start our final, American Revolution project, which is called Fortunately, Unfortunately, and it's based on a book called Fortunately, and the kids will have to kind of go through the Revolutionary War in a specific structure that matches this book that we're studying, and so they're going to work with a partner and make a physical book about this. That'll be a really fun project, and then also they'll be studying their capitals, and their capitals test is going to be Friday, May 12th. For science, the kids are going to be looking at an interactive web page to talk about the movement of constellations. And of course, they'll see Miss DeMarco in Science Lab. There's nothing in vocabulary, and like I said, our week is going to be really dominated by state testing simply because of time. So I would not expect a large workload next week. If you're finding that your kids have lots of homework, that might be a good time to check in with me, because that would be a little bit of a surprise based on what I have planned. So hopefully they get a lot of rest and come excited to go to school. We'll go a little outside a little more tomorrow, so not so much stuck inside doing testing. But I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye.